Hello everyone, my name is Notepad and on I Write Games for Fun. This is not what we're working on today. We are going to be working on, of course, Sword Bastards, a game about crime and bastardry at the end of an era. Yeah, so I did a little bit of work. As you can see. A little bit of work. I wrote the lore. I wrote a lot of lore, because this is what happens when I write lore. I don't write a little bit of lore, I write a lot of lore, because I'm me, and that's just how I do things. Generally speaking, the lore is pretty much what I was talking about previously. I do plan on putting up a note, which is going to be the, hey, here's a bunch of random bullshit that may or may not be relevant, and I don't know where else to put, so here you go. Might put that in there, might not, depending on how much stuff I can manage to get, kind of put up there. Generally speaking, I didn't really do much here. I think this works just fine. I think Grand Roulette works. I think dueling works. Cheating Destiny, of course, work. Control Chaos. The one thing I did change was the suits, and otherwise known as the natures. I thought about this for a while. I hemmed and hawed and debated with myself, but I changed it to 4. Blades, pentacles, batons, and chalices. Kind of what we would traditionally think of as the tarot minor arcana. I changed it to those. Technically, these are the Italian deck. Hell, thank you very much, Lubu. Thank you very much for resubscribing. 1 whole month. Hello. What's up? Nothing much. We're just working on more card games. I did change the names of these though. Most of the ideas still remain the same, except things like blades are a little bit more broad, because blades aren't strictly, blades right now are not strictly, hey, these are, this is your combat ability. No, blades are, it's your quick wit, it's your quick step, as well as a quick blade. So it's like, oh, okay, thieves and nobles are attuned to it. Creative Symbol will forever be an issue to me due to them cutting support to the 3 Kingdoms. Yeah, any 3 Kingdoms Total War, I was excited for. Then I saw gameplay, I'm like, I am no longer excited. Pentacles was, being analytical, being very thoughtful, but it's also about life, love, and bloodshed. Generally thinking, if you're really high pentacles, it means you're taking your time and really thinking about things. You are closing in your eyes and being like, how do I get out of this situation? Which does lead to batons, which is boldly and forcefully. Because batons or wands anyway, are traditionally associated with, emotions, kind of strong emotions and things like that. So I'm like, yeah, no, batons are going to be just strength. If you want to be fucking strong, you're going to jack up your batons, and you're resilient. You have emotional outbursts, and usually it's someone getting punched in the face. Which does lead to chalices, which are pretty much it's your charisma, it's your ability to express yourself, and you are pretty much bigger and grander. That's how you approach the world. All of these, of course, feeding into bastardries. 3 Kingdom has potential. They just did the basic battle system for it with a few add-ons. It's the thing with the issue with the Total War 3 Kingdoms is that it was so heavily influenced by Warhammer at that point. I think they were trying to make things a little bit more unique. Oh lordy, why is the stream barking for me? Are we having issues? I'm not seeing any issues. I'm not seeing any issues on my end, but generally speaking, I think one of the issues with 3 Kingdoms is it's a lot more about the people. I think that's kind of like one of the bigger things. It's not necessarily about, oh, the Kingdom of Wei made an advance down south. It's no, Cao Cao made an advancement down south, and in his hubris, something bad happened. Or it's not, oh, the Kingdom of Shu moved left. No, it's Liu Bei moved the army this way with the sworn brothers at his side. That's kind of the idea with the Three Kingdoms. It's a lot more about people, a lot more about the situations these very dramatic people find themselves in. And I think to make like an ideal Three Kingdoms game, like Total War Three Kingdoms game, you would need to overhaul the diplomacy entirely, or have effectively a Total War game about just the people, about just the generals, about just the things like that. Which I think is one of the reasons why the Three Kingdoms, the how do I want to? What are those games? Romance of the Three Kingdoms. There we go. How pretty much how the RTK games do it. Total War 3 Kingdoms 2 need a heavy overhaul how it plays versus the other Total War. Yeah, I think it would need a pretty major overhaul. I mean, I think they had the right idea. I think it's just the way that they approached it was, we want the Warhammer audience, which, by the way, every single game going forward is now going to effectively be Warhammer in some capacity. I hate to break it to people. That's just going to be the case. Total War Warhammer has pumped in more money into the Total War franchise than any other game in the series. By a country mile. Not even by a country mile. By a factor of millions. Like, hello, Draco. There's a reason, like, why we haven't seen, like, Medieval 3. Or, like, you know, we haven't seen Medieval 3. We haven't seen Shogun 3. We haven't seen a lot of these different historical time periods. Hell, even Empire 2, I'd be happy with. Even with the constraints. Yeah, I think that's kind of I think Creative Assembly was a little bit hamstrung by the historical time periods. They were kind of being like, okay, we have to do that. This is the problem, like, there's only so many ways to put in man with sword. That's just the truth of the matter. At least with, like, Warhammer, they let you do a lot more stuff with it, if that makes sense. What I would be really interested to see, though, what I would be really fascinated, I would love to see a full-on Creative Assembly game with their own IP. Not like a Warhammer IP, not anything else, just with their own IP, and like, okay, what do you want to do with this? You could do whatever you want. Just if I were, it's kind of like one of those things, like, given anything you want, unlimited funding, unlimited what would you make? And I don't know what Creatives Assembly would want. Yeah, I think they, like, honest to God, it's funny, I don't really know, like, where they would go, like a Lord of the Rings Total War game. I don't even think, like, licensed stuff, you don't even need to do that. I think just something like that, just give them some. I will say this, the Medieval, was it Medieval 2? I think it was Medieval 2. The Medieval 2 fucking Lord of the Rings mods did kind of fuck, though. Those were great fucking mods. Good times. Good times. I would play those all the time. But yeah, no, it's... Total War is fun. I'm not very good at Total War, and if I ever do decide to play Total War here on stream, I will most likely play like fucking Empire or something, just to fuck with the algorithm. Because I hate being successful. But let me think. Yeah. Also, I saw someone is making another competitor to Orc. What? I know Orc was kind of a shit show of a license, which I don't know why people were thinking that it was going to be like this amazing thing. I was a little bit hesitant when it came to the Orc to begin with. It's, yeah, or like the Orc license, Role of Laws making the Elf life license. Oh god, yeah, that's, see, it's the fucking, Jesus, that's even worse. Like, It's not even like, yeah, it's the elf license. And I knew this was going to happen, is that people were going to start fighting each other over it. Orc was Paizo and a couple other groups attempt to make their own, effectively their own OGL, their own open game license. The problem is, this is the amusing thing. The problem with the Orc license, if I was reading things correctly, it's a little bit janky the way that it's been worded. It's effectively, they don't have a central authority, because they were going to have one, but then they weren't. Then they were going to have another central authority. And effectively, if somebody breaks the Orc license, everybody has to collectively sue them. That's the... See, if I were to do the dwarf, like, if I were to do, like, you want to know how do you do a dwarf license? Is like, everything must, everything is yours and yours alone. So it's like some kind of shit Warsaw pack, but for TTRPGs. Oh, wow, that is... To a weird degree, you are correct. Yeah, Orc was kind of a weird... Orc's not fully out yet, but the thing is, what they released wasn't very good. And with something like that, you needed to release something really good. And they didn't. But again, I'm not surprised. Again, the Dwarf license, my brand new Dwarf license is very simple. Everything you own is yours. If you steal somebody else from the Dwarf license, you get put in the book of fucking grudges. Who had World War III started by D&D homebrewers? Dwarf license. You violate the dwarf code. You go in the book of grudges. That's all it is. You just get the book of grudges. But, it's kind of a messy thing, and then it's like, yeah, Orc Warning basically copyleft things. Paizo could legitimately publish your shit, for example. How big is your book of grudges at this point? Let me tell you about the book of grudges. Okay. Getting back on track. Ow. Getting slightly back on track because I can't stream too long tonight because I've got things I gotta do tomorrow. Kind of clean some things up here, and I also added the skill system. The skill system is being taken almost directly one-to-one from zombies and ziggurats because I realized the skill set system was kind of just perfect. Honestly, I'm gonna probably use the skill set system going forward for a lot of things that need just a quick and dirty skill system. Because the entire idea is you just have a broad thing, and that if it's vaguely applied, you can put it in. It's former careers, notable achievements, or nicknames, just something to give you a leg up. I say it's a quick and dirty skill system for a very good reason. I don't really want to put like very specific skills in. It's just like, hey, you are, a pyromaniac. If you want to light something on fire, you're going to have a lot easier time of doing it. All you do in this one is, if it is relevant to a challenge, you're going to draw a additional card. That's it. It's never used for combat, never used for duels, as no amount of history will save them from the heat of clashing swords. Easy enough to understand. This does lead to what we're going to be doing today, which is kind of doing like how does the stamina system, which I'm going to rename to bravado. It's going to be bravado and combat skills, kind of like finishing that up. I do have my very simple sample character of Vincente, Cosentino. Generally speaking, he drew really well for his stats, but he only has very low bastardry. And his skill set, he's a Scaramucci actor, which is, he's a sad clown actor. That's what he does. And anytime he needs to pretend to be someone else, that's what he can draw upon. Easy enough to understand. But yeah, it kind of dawned on me Yeah, don't go to that website anymore. Lubu, my friend, I'm gonna have to change the website. Go to the new website. Give me 1 second. Let me open the brand new website up for everybody. Look at everybody, it's a brand new website. It's great. We love the website. There's nothing wrong with the website. Everything actually gets linked correctly in this version. Wow, look everybody. It's here. Wow. Things get linked correctly actually in this website. Share it around with your friends. Tell your tell your friends, tell your kid, tell everybody. Just I'll actually even check, you know, does this get linked to the right thing? Yes, it does right here. I think it's linked correctly. It's not I'm pretty much going to have to go back and relink the site back to this one, being like, yeah, this site's kind of getting abandoned just for this one because it's a little bit easier, a little bit simpler to deal with, but that do be how it is sometimes. But I did realize something going through this, kind of doing a little bit of thinking and thunking and a lot of other things. I realized this game is very, very light. And I say it's very light because if you look right there, that's really all that there is in this game to do. That's all I need to do. It's blood packs and solemn oaths, which we're going to talk about the gang today, which I'm going to be outfitting what a gang looks like. A job's a job. Generally speaking, that's going to be like, how do you build jobs, and like, what are you actually supposed to be doing for these things? And then we're going to be doing duels and combat, into doing equipment and kind of how gear works, and then no streets for old men, which is going to be advancement. That's really it. Like, that's the that's the entire game. There really isn't a lot with this game. And it's not like, oh, there isn't a lot of content. No, it's more along the lines of like, there isn't a lot of things I need to do with it. Because this game is entirely built on a gimmick. And that gimmick, STARDS. So, I'm gonna grab my coffee. Because I have to wake up very early tomorrow and go to the hospital with my mom. She's getting pre-op for her knee. It's gonna be fun. Okay. Let's get down to business. Blood in, blood out. During their escapades, the find themselves in desperate odds and circumstances to represent their willpower, and courage, or foolhardiness, or brazen disregard for danger. Willpower and courage, or brazen disregard for danger. Each of the bastards will have a bravado score. Bravado is the measure of will, is the measure of determination. Allowing them to push forward in There's determination. The bastard has to And one bravado to draw to top deck. Top deck, footnote, draw from the top of the deck, from the top of the deck blindly. May spend one bravado to top deck, draw from the top of the deck blindly, to add to their hand for any challenge, for any challenge. If a to add to their hand for any challenge. Easy, simple enough to understand. But bravado also acts as the first layer of defense for the bastard, for a bastard in a duel. First layer of defense for a bastard in a duel. If the bastard is struck, bravado first before taking on wound. Let's see. Is stuck in combat, they will reduce their bravado first before taking on wounds, representing these representing small cuts, nicks, and near misses that edge the bastard toward the inevitable hit home. Before the inevitable, should a bastard take damage exceeding their current bravado, they will take the excess damage as a wound instead. Let's see. Do their wounds instead. So it's pretty much, actually no, I shouldn't do that. Exceeding their current bravado, they will not take the additional damage to their wounds. Let's see, but they are now exposed. May the martyrs protect them. Each bastard has a bravado score equal. Each bastard has a bravado of 10. Each bastard has a bravado of 10 to begin with. Actually, should I reduce that down? No, it's my mom. my mom has bad knees, so she is going to finally get them fixed. She's going to get one fixed at least. The surgery is actually next month, but we got to do all the pre. Your mother was an adventurer. It's yeah, it's just arthritis. The adventure was arthritis. Kind of a. But yeah, no, she's getting that fixed finally. And hopefully everything goes according to plan. Yeah, I have to wake up fairly early tomorrow, so to get ready for that. So each bastard has a bravado of Each master has a bravado of 13. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kind of an awkward number, but that's fine. Each master has a bravado of 13 to begin with. To begin with, but it's like each master has a bravado of 13 to begin with. When used, bravado does not return until the job is complete. Until the job is complete and the bastard is allowed time to rest. Bastard is allowed time to rest. If they are wounded at all, then they will not recover their bravado until they are fully healed. Pretty much the idea of like getting hit once in combat, like a nasty hit, does have a chance of just kind of crippling you a little bit because you don't have your overhealth, which is kind of a meta currency in this sense. It's a meta currency that is there to keep you alive, and it's like, oh, I don't have my thing to get out of problems anymore. I also don't have my thing to pretty much keep me alive. Oh no. Let's see. These streets devour the weak, but the bastard will not go down quietly. Each bastard is a trained fighter to some degree. They may not be professional musketeers. Actually, they may not be imperial musketeers. Or full-fledged soldiers, but their guts and their guts and talent. Each of the suits is tied to a fighting style, tied to a combat. So we'll do fighting style. Each of the suits is tied to a fighting style. Each of the suits is tied to a fighting style. Adding the bastard. Each of the suits is tied to a fighting style. Adding the bastards. Bastardry. Adding bastardry. To each of them to determine the final amount, the final value. These are the number cards drawn during a duel. These are the number of cards drawn during a duel, and each will be in conflict. Each will be in conflict with another, but each will be in conflict with another, potentially. Yeah, so it's just kind of like determine your fighting styles. Mm. Mm. Be their preferred style, granting a +1 to it, as well as being their default, if they are ambushed, or forced to fight without preparation. Generally speaking, if you get jumped, this is going to be the style that you're going to hop into. This is just what you're very comfortable with. Easy enough to understand. We're going to select you. Mm. 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 Let me see, agility, not riposte. We want to do, we want these to be kind of broad. I mean, we can do, brutal, batons. Fanciful. Chalices, and let me see, what would be a what would be a good way of describing, like, oh, this is how you fight, if you're being very thoughtful about things? Like you're being very like deliberate, being very slow, very deliberate. How about that? Mm. Mm. So, mm. 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 So never let them rest. Never let them strike. Never let them rest. Never let them strike. Deliberate. So if we're being deliberate about things, strike, land, each stab, Never let them rest. Never let them strike. They may come, but they will die. Brutal. Killing, let's see. Thunderous hits and bold moves, striking hard and fast for the killing blow. Overwhelming. Whelm them. Let's see. Overwhelm them. Overwhelm them. Crush them, and finally, Mm. 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 Actually, how do we want this? Dance of swords. It's a dance of swords and words. Mm. Mm. Oh, not like you're thinking either. Yep, there we go. Agility is all about go fast, hit hard. Agility. Go, it's a dance of swords, a dance of swords, always planting next retorts and thrust, never letting them think too fast, not like you're thinking either. There we go, we've understood all the styles, you choose one, we go back to Vincente, mm, 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 Always one for a show. He chooses the fanciful style as his preferred style. Preferred style, bringing it up to as his preferred style. Each of the combat styles coming together as, let me check, blades as agility 4, deliberate 4, fanciful 6, and brutal 3. Yeah, he's not very strong. He has a very low. Like, generally speak, this is the big thing though. This is kind of the thing you got to remember with this. If people know, and because the GM is going to know, that's going to be your kind of preferred kind of style. If you're getting countered with your style, they have an advantage. You're giving them additional cards to fuck your day up with. So you maybe want to choose like a preferred style that isn't exactly your strongest. I'm getting a phone call. Give me one moment. Alright. Let's get back to things. Vincente is good. Probably add an image right there, and that's pretty much character creation. There really isn't too much here. But then we move on to... What did I end up calling it? What did I end up calling this section? Blood packs and Solomos. There we go. Blood packs. with the collapse of the old army, the forces of the city have come out in the forces of the city, a new upheaval of minor gangs have formed and are starting to fight for territory and the businesses of the old order, of the previous order. The bastards are one of these gangs. A batch of fools bound together by little more little more than oaths of camaraderie and a desire for profits. Each gang and organization in Sword Bastards is given a rank. Given a rank from 1 to 10, representing their overall importance and ability to influence the world around them. Right there. Let's see, overall importance and ability to influence the world around them. Influence the city, I should say. And influence the city. The bastards will begin at rank 1, barely qualifying as a gang, and being little more than lackeys for major players. This is going to change. The bastard rank 1, barely qualifying as a gang, a little more than lackeys for the major powers as the begin challenging the power players in the city. How do I want to work this section? No. They'll have influence over their neighborhood. How do I want to work this section? How do I want to do this section? This is an important thing. Better queen. Yeah, let's see. The gang they are part of will have right. Fuck me. How do I want to do this? How do I want to do this? You think I would have this already? Welcome to Rain and Kyridian, by the way. Yeah, this is a game called Rain and Kyridian. Let's see. Seek knowledge. So, qualities of a company. Able to get things done in the world. Spying out secrets, governments. North commander. That's really might have the same might as a dozen well-armed veteran cavalry soldiers. You assign your followers to a company and sort of well, there it is. Lead more people than is represented by followers 5 without forming a company. This does mean that have my 3, you can assign some followers come with you on private missions, and voila, and some followers without paying for the advantage. Fight from entrenchments. Because in Rain, because the idea of in Rain is that almost every single thing you do is going to be based on the company. Have I reviewed Rain and Kyridian yet? No, I have not. Because it's kind of a weird game, and I do plan on having it part of the one roll, you know, kind of case. But the one roll RPGs are kind of weird, so it's like, eh. But generally speaking, you have might, treasure, influence, territory, sovereignty, inner strength. Pretty much like this is kind of like physical influence. This is physical influence. This is economic influence. This is in like pretty much exterior influence. I guess that would be the idea of wording it. Territory would be kind of like property influence. Well, sovereignty is internal influence. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, oh, you gotta like optimize your combinations. You gotta optimize, you know, like how you like subdivide things. That's why I've been like, how do I want to do this correctly? Because this is one way of doing things. Option 2 is we go to BCS. We do blood, coin, and steel. Yeah, because it's kind of the idea of... Yeah, we have free bandit groups, you know, claim to fight the good fight. Legitimacy is the perception of moral righteousness. Because, yeah, these guys kind of have their own variety of issues. And the entire thing with this kind of game is, if we go all the way up here, it's all about seasonal checks and kind of like managing larger populations. It's more about like abstracting it out. What do we want? Because if we go to Forge in the Dark, where this entire system is roughly based off of, let's not, you know, let's call a spade here, because this is the idea of like the tiers. And this is kind of what I've been like, okay, a little bit how it is, but a little bit more grand, because I'm like, yeah, these are going to be pretty large groups of people, and it's a little bit more. The only thing I don't like about this is the idea of claims, because I really dislike the claim system. Because to give you an idea, like, everything is like, oh, you have to make a claim for it. And in a claim, you have to choose what you want with it. And it's like, it's not really like you're expanding into something. It's you saying, oh, we're doing an envoy. I'm doing a claim for an envoy. That seems a little bit weird rather than like more the situation that you're in. That's why I never really liked kind of the... Yeah, that's like, I never enjoyed this aspect of the game, but I like the idea. Always like the idea behind it. Never enjoyed the actual like moment to moment though. That's kind of the funny bit. Yeah. Oh, it's you got stronghold. I'm like, no. How do I want to do? This isn't right. I want to create a system. Let's just write this out. Let's just write it out. Let's do it right now. Yeah, so seizing not only territory but also businesses setting up their own claim. If we do it like, because I guess we could stick it with this. Sold that son's identity. Sold that son's identity. Tell me more about my faction system that I wrote like a fucking million years ago. Tiers of power. Power reason. This is really because the entire idea of this is that like these are the places that you as a sea soldier are joining. Do I have anything else that I can reference about like factioning? About like building up like a group? There's something in God-killing swords maybe I can reference, because God-killing swords has its own thing. No, these are all about that. That's not quite what I'm for. Hearts of Darkness, maybe? Kind of a long shot, but I mean, I guess I could reference Hearts of Darkness. It's been a while. Um. Mhm. Oh, that's not. Unless I legitimately just make something from the top of my head and just go from there, I might have to do that. This is an incredibly long shot that most likely won't work, but I gotta make sure this is the right version. This is the right version. Wow. It's a give me the gill at now this running a faction in a TTRPG. Faction TTRPG. Give me something to work with. Player-driven factions. Give me something to... What are we looking for? Player-driven requires driven players. That's fucking amazing. God fucking damn it, I hate it. I hate Reddit. Okay. Stars without number. Do I actually have stars without number? I'm like 90% sure I do. This is probably an... Let's look at faction. What is a faction? Cunning. So let's see. Hit points. Force rating. Force, cunning, wealth. Fact creds. Assets. Looks like they have literally like attributes. So yeah, these would be kind of like things you can buy with various kind of like situations. Like if you have higher... This is going to be kind of a... Ubiquitous. Okay. No. Okay. I know. So, what we need to do is we need to establish what gangs are good at. What do gangs do? What can you do to leverage things? I'm going to say if we use these, if we kind of use this idea a little bit, I hit shift key too many times. If we do not necessarily territory, we don't need that as a strict rating because we're going to use this, I think. We're going to use the 4 territories per district with 13 total districts. So we only really need to worry about might. We can do like, generally speaking, I'm going to say bodies. Like, these are just the number of bodies that you can bring to bear. People who listen to you. It's like, yeah, these are just guys who listen to you more than anything. Treasure, we can do, profit. Why don't we do profit? Influence, yeah, we can do something like influence and then sovereignty. Okay. Don't need E. We're gonna go all the way down here, so let's just do each gang is given a rank from overall importance and ability to influence the city. Masters will begin with rank 1, barely qualifying as a gang and being little more than lackeys for the major powers. From there, each gang will have we'll have to manage their income, influence. Control. So income, influence, control. And what would be bodies? Like bodies would be a way of wording it. Like pretty much this is a little bit more like actual like physical influence. Gangs are good at being bodies between you and bullets. It's kind of the idea of like you are effectively starting your very own criminal organization in Sword Bastard. You're a bunch of assholes. That's kind of the idea. You're at kind of the top of the hierarchy. So, you know, at the beginning, you're pretty much playing with you're playing somebody else's game effectively. Like you are part of a bigger group. You pay up. That's kind of the entire idea. You do a job because the big guy up top wants you to do a job. You from there, once you start kind of raising through the ranks, there's going to be guys who are just going to be, we want to make money from you as well. And it's kind of your ability to have a little bit more of a physical influence over things. Because it's like, who are you going to run? It's like, you want to run a protection agency? Cool. You're going to need guys to actually do the protecting. Hey, you want to run a drug running empire? Cool. You need people to make drugs. That's why I'm thinking of like bodies, which are just like employees more than anything. These are the guys you'd use to do things. It's kind of the more anomalous, like, they're not strictly like, oh, these are fighters. They're just people that are very loyal to you. I guess we can, how do I want to word that? Bodies, physical influence, economic influence, exterior called hired guys, your deck maybe. I don't want people getting confused thinking like, oh, it's like my deck of cards. I don't want people getting confused in that regard. Because these are a lot more about like comparative, like flat numbers and you being able to draw influence from something. You have a good handle on your deck. Sounds weird. King of dudes. Like like how do you Mm. Some Bravo villain Desperado, hired assassin. Murder, especially when hired steal. Bravos, say bravo. Mm. Thug shaker, like, wow, cool, thanks. Minion synonym. Do we have a good synonym for minion? Underling, henchman, followers, toadies, myrmidons. Actually, we can use underling. Yeah, why don't we do something like this in underlings? Manage income, influence, and control in underlings. Income represents the amount of money coming in from their various rackets and business. And let's see, the amount of money coming in from their various rackets and businesses, allowing the gang to further its interests. Influence is the hold over the influence is the hold over the citizen, is the soft power over the citizenry and other groups and other groups in the same area. Let's get together without having to lift a finger. Control is the cohesion of the gang and being able to work actively together without fear of internal squabbles. Finally, underlings are the number of men and women who work directly with the gang. Let's see, the number of men and women who work directly with the gang to further their interests. Each of these are abstracted out to represent various stages. Various stages of development for the gang. As well as their grip over their territory, having a let's wait. A grip over territory. So if we do something like this, from there each game will have to manage their income, influence, control, and represent the amount of money coming in, various rackets. Stage of development for the game as well as their territory, as well as their grip over their territory. So if we want to do, actually what we can do now is we can do the territories and territories, districts, and what would you describe like a large part of the city? Like boroughs? borough. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Territories, districts, and boroughs. And boroughs. The city is divided. Let's see. The city is divided up into various territories, districts. Let's see. The various smaller into various. Let's see. Cities divided up into various smaller increments. And very smaller pieces of land known as territories, districts, and boroughs. Territories, districts, and boroughs. Territories are the smallest section of the city, but the most physical and pronounced. Territory, small section of the city, but are the most physical They are neighborhoods. Streets, and defined areas that the sword bastards can actively visit and wander through. Let's see, actively visit and wander through. A individual rank 1 and 2 gangs, rank 1 to 3 gangs often operate on the territory scale, moving trying to claim 1 or 2 streets as their private domain. Each one of these can only support one kind of racket. But controlling them is rather simple. Districts are composed of 13 territories. The districts are composed of 13 territories, each of them forming an area of the city. In broad terms. Often these are locations such as the docks or low town. The docks or low town. These areas can manage district-wide racket businesses. Fought over by rank 4 to 7 gangs and groups, while the watchmen, the watch are on constant patrol. Actually, the watch operate on the district scale when assigning the nightly routines. Let's see. The wash operates on district scale when assigning the nightly routines, not caring about the individual street, but the security of the area entirely. Finally, the boroughs. Finally, the boroughs. Only four to... Actually, only a handful... Only 4 of these reside... only 4 of these are in the city. Actually, only 2 or 4 of these are in the city. Encompassing huge chunks of the city, and let's see, so this and dividing the various districts between them. Actually, or do we... Ward. Block, district, region, segment. Province. I'm going with, I'm gonna go with borough, because I think borough has a good word to it. It kind of gives an idea of like, hey, this is a borough. Like, you're not really, no one's really operating at the borough tier. That's kind of the thing. Like, if you hit that point, it's like, clearly you've kind of like gone beyond just being a criminal organization at this point. Encompassing huge chunks of the city and dividing in various districts between them. The boroughs. These are the domain of the rank 8 to 10 groups reserved for the best of the best or the city-wide organizations that keep it functional. Let's see. These are the domain of rank 8-10 groups reserved for the best of the best citywide organizations to keep it functional. Well, as the bastards begin their journey, they are feuding. They are most likely feuding with other minor gangs for control of a single territory. Feuding with other minor gangs for control of a single territory. These minor there we go. Feuding with other minor gangs for control of a single territory. Take a lot longer than a single night. So it's kind of the idea that you're fighting. There's always kind of a sense of you're going upwards. Like you start with the territories. You want to get your territories. Then you move on to your district scale. But all the districts are kind of having their own broader businesses there, and broader businesses and rackets that are kind of influencing the entire area. Then you start going on to the boroughs. The boroughs are kind of like the really big chunks of the city that are like, oh, this entire chunk of the city is now under gang control. You don't go there if you're like a decent person. So the feeling of the game, what I want to get across is that you will need to expand you're expanding your influence kind of depending on where you are. Like, you're changing the nature of how you're going to be approaching the situation. You all are on the docks. That's your district. Currently, the racket set up on the docks is a smuggling operation. Everybody knows the big boss, the fish hooks or whatever, they run the smuggling. They bring food in, they bring all the illegal shit in, and that's how it works. Everybody everyone below them, they all have to kind of pay up. That's kind of the best way to think about it. But the fish hooks are also the same people who are going to pay you to do shit. Your first maybe session or two is going to be the fish hooks effectively saying, hey, we've got another gang in another district kind of moving in on us. Rough them up. You're going to be, a few bodies for us. You're our underlings. That's kind of like one of the things, kind of as you get promoted up and up, the nature changes a little bit when it comes to underlings. These are just people that you can leverage. And as you get up, it's like, yeah, you're being able to leverage a small gang of guys that they're not really good at their job, but hey, you weren't good at your job. But you've moved up. You're able to hire more people. You're able to bring more people into the fold because they're going to be a little bit more susceptible to it. And depending on how your gang operates, you always got to know how you're playing the game. How are you doing things? If you want to be a weird, like, Puritan gang where you're like, oh, well, we want to, we're a good Christian gang and we don't like the smuggling operation, fight your way up. Beat some asses in and challenge the hooks. Once you challenge the hooks for the district, you now own the district and you can get rid of the smuggling. No more smuggling. We've replaced it with a legitimate business. In fact, we've replaced it with an illegitimate one. If you just want to, and this is going to be a big thing, if you just want to keep it at district scale, you can. You just want to keep it fighting, rank like 1 to 4 maybe, of just fighting tooth and nail to grab a few districts and territory, and it's like it's a fight on the docks. Every night, Giorno be like, I will make the mafia a legitimate business. I don't want to sell drugs to kids. Yeah, it's shit like that, honestly. If you're like, hey, I want to be a gangstar and I don't want us to be selling weird shit to kids because that's fucked up. Cool. You gotta work your ass up there. It ain't gonna be easy, I can tell you that much, but you can. It's kind of the idea of like, if you want to stay like low power, then you're gonna be stuck in that kind of like rank 1 to about 4 tier. And that's perfectly fine, because it's the idea of everything is being paid up. You're a minor gang, that means just about anything you make is going to get paid to the guy above you. Who's going to be paid the guy above him, who's going to be paying the guy above him, who's going to be paying off another guy. And that's kind of the collapse of the old army, kind of this massive gang that was in power for a while, is they were the ones who owned everything going down. They treated it effectively as a feudal... Yeah, all crime is a pyramid. They treated it as a massive feudal situation. It's, you manage this, you give us this, you give us A, he gives you B, you give him C, you give me D, and we're all good. Everyone makes money. But then they collapse because effectively, if you ever want to fuck over a pyramid scheme, you kill off the top, because then the money doesn't roll down anymore. Yeah, too many middle managers, not enough knee breakers. And that's kind of the collapse of what occurred, was they took out everybody on top, which caused everybody in the middle to kind of set up their own little problems. It's like every district currently is either under like one gang, or there's like 2 or 3 gangs kind of like fighting among each other. Like, they're too big for like the average one of you. And like, as you start out, you're probably going to be either in a gang of another person, or you're going to be kind of on the bottom rung. It's, you're on the bottom of the pyramid, you need to get your ass up. And it's like, how do you get out of a pyramid scheme? And the answer is you climb your ass up or you dismantle it. And that's effectively what you're going to be doing as sword bastards. It's you're kind of climbing up a little bit. So it's like when the first president of Yugoslavia died. You mean the only president of Yugoslavia. Effectively, it's like you have all these people held together by nothing. And then the old armies had effectively got shipped off to go to Guantanamo, you know, Italian Guantanamo, and everyone started fighting one another. Most gangs at this point are in like the rank 5, like most of the major gangs are like rank 5 at best. Rank 5 or 6. Like, it was a complete collapse. Nobody knew what was going on. No one's really been able to kind of claim that like rank 10 situation again. And pretty much how I plan, if I want to do this correctly, is we're going to be using, income is going to be the easiest to understand. That's just the amount of money you're dragging in. Things give you money. What can you use money to do? And just about anything. The higher your income rating, the more money that you can bring out in pure liquid. It's just, you're fucking rich. You're rolling in dough. You're rolling in silver. But if you want to make a big purchase, you're going to have to lower your income. If you want to outfit a bunch of underlings with actual like weapons, you're going to have to lower your income. You always want to build your income, but you always have to know your income's going to go down. It's kind of it's the amount of money you can leverage. That's the best way of thinking about it. I could probably change the name to something like that, like literally like liquid or something, but I don't quite know how I want to word that. Influence, though, is your ability to interact with other people and as well as your soft influence over people. Because if your influence is low, that means people don't like you. People just hate you. And you know all those cool businesses you have? Well, you're going to have fun keeping track of them when everyone wants to firebomb you. And it's kind of like, yeah, if you have really high influence, you're able to, people are content or at least don't want to fuck with you. It's kind of a back and forth. Like, you don't want to fuck with me, I don't want to fuck with you. Just everyone is happy as long as the beer comes in. As long as we can smuggle in the shit you want, you're going to keep getting what you need. Control, on the other hand, is your ability to actually like keep a grip over your internal structure. Starting off, it's going to be easy. Then you're going to get bigger, and then you're going to get bigger, and then you're going to get bigger. If you can't really build that control up, if you're not really kind of, I think the best way to think about it is control goes down when you're being distracted. If you can't manage shit, control ain't going to work. If you're making a shit ton of money, spread the wealth. Everybody knows and everyone's going to be happy because of course, hey, the fact that you break away from like a kind of a bigger gang is because their control is waning. Their control over you is waning. So it's like, okay, because you can't micromanage everything. What's your opinion on money rules in TTRPG? Do you prefer D&D style war chest money, where you track all the money you make and spend, or do you prefer systems where money is stat, measuring how much you can spend? Depends entirely on the game. If I am playing like a game of like highfalutin adventuring and things like that, I want to be able to track the amount of money I have because I want to be able to leverage that a lot easier. I want to be able to say I have 12,000 gold coins or I have 12,000 marks or whatever, and I know how much I have. It's not, oh, well, you can kind of always be prepared. I just like being able to do that, but I'm a fucking accountant at heart. As for more over big things, more kind of like grandiose games when it comes to something like even like this, then having money be a little bit more abstracted out is usually going to be a little bit better, a little bit stand, just because you're dealing with such a large amount of money. And having a shit ton of money has its downsides, because I'm going to give everybody a secret here. You in no physical way will ever be able to spend $1 million. Just, you never will be able to spend $1 million. Just doing like just sitting there and just like spending money. That's not about having $1 billion isn't about using that. It's about the idea that you have it and you can leverage it. It's money doesn't mean anything at that point. You don't matter that it doesn't even count. Like, I want to buy a sandwich. Having $1 million and spending that on a sandwich it's not anything. But if you've got $10, yeah, buying a sandwich from the store is gonna be like, this is gonna be a little bit more expensive. That's kind of what I mean. Like, it's a very different experience having like a lot of money versus having no money. And if you want to create a sense of deprivation, you just need to spend a little bit of money. It's just like, oh, cool. If you want to have deprivation, you want to make sure you need to have at least every like piece of it count. But if you really do not care, like if that's not a thing, Elon Musk does not factor in buying a sandwich. Elon Musk you challenge, quote unquote, you would make a challenge for his money if he's buying Twitter. No one is just going to be like, traditionally, I'm just going to buy a business. That's not how that works. Elon Musk could most likely fund as many goddamn hoagie restaurants as he wants. I'm thinking about hoagies because there's a new hoagie restaurant that opened up. He can open up an entire chain of restaurants if any time he wanted to. Right now, for the amount of money that he bought Twitter for, he could outfit an entire region of the United States in McDonald's. Easy. That's not a thing. That's not a factor. That's why it's like, really ultra rich people are really weird. Because they like have no concept of like buying something. They just don't understand it. It's like, that's a little expensive. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, this makes no sense to me of like why you think this is expensive, because like I'm a regular person. Man of unfortunate. Okay, so we want to do let's see, as well as carving out a knee, as well as carving out a niche for themselves. when there are a infinite number of reasons why bastards band together, but most of them can be broken down into a few broad categories. Neighborhood gang. We're part of a neighborhood together, growing up alongside one another. Movie. The Graduate. +1 control, +1 influence. Graduates. Gang can be just about anyone. Niche they want to find. The most common of these: protection racket smugglers. The bastards will choose their stomping. We'll next choose. We'll next choose their stomping. Their initial stomping ground. Choose their initial stomping grounds of. Let's see. The bastards will next choose their initial stomping grounds. Each of the stomping grounds in a district. They will be competing over a territory with others, potentially larger groups. If they carve out a niche for themselves, they may not be competing with anyone. Then they may not be directly competing with anyone until they expand further. Again, just about anything. Cults to the wicked one. Cults to the. They've been over exotic slave traders. Wicked ones or exotic slave. Because we're secretly in an isekai. I got isekai to an Italian. I've been isekai to Italy. The most cursed isekai. Let's see, bastard. I should write in some like basic districts. Okay. Okay, so. If we want to be precise about things. Let's write each as discussed above thee. Of thee. Okay. Let's do a table. We do 4. We do 3. We do attributes. Description. Or how do we want to do okay. You know what? Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna call it here. A little bit late. However, there's a good reason for this. 1, I need to get up early tomorrow. And 2, I'm gonna think about how I actually want to word this, if that makes any remote amount of sense. I want to make sure that this is worded correctly, so when I get to it, so when I kind of like am wording things out with it, it's structured correctly, because I don't think I went into this with the right structure. I think I know what I want to do now with it, but I need to mull on it a little bit, see if it works. To give you an idea of like how I'm actually kind of looking at this, if we go all the way up here, if I get this done relatively quickly, that's the plan at least. A job's a job. That is quite literally going to be about 2 pages max, and it's going to be, when you're on a job, there are no redos, there are no backups or whatever. You have to leverage your ability, you have to leverage what you know, and how you plan on doing it. Also going to be the description of, as a sword bastard, you do not need to make challenges on things most people do, because you are an actual competent individual. You want to find things, and if you complete a job, you're going to get paid for it. You're going to increase your income a little bit. You're going to increase your standing a little bit. You're going to get a little bit of something, and it's like, okay, here's a little bit of something, a little bit of something, a little bit of something. Then we're going to go into duels and how combat works, which, generally speaking, I've already written out. Duels and combat do not take very long to do. They're very simple, in fact. It's just going to be explaining the basics of it, and then immediately going to be then kind of like doing like niche cases. What if you're fighting 3 people? This is what occurs. What if you're fighting, this? This is what occurs. What do the cards do? They do this. The equipment's going to be a little while. I'm going to say that right now. Equipment's going to be a little while, simply because there's a lot I plan on adding in. But I do already I have a good idea what I want to put in. It's just putting everything in kind of thing. Like, armor's going to be like, there's going to be like 3 pieces of armor, because you don't need armor in a game like this. You don't. Because it's the Age of Enlightenment. They're fucking musketeers. You have like a breastplate. That's like your advanced armor. Advancement's going to be probably one of the longer ones. Not necessarily for the idea of advancement, but for talents. Because talents are going to influence how other things are handled, as well as that's why you're going to get new skill sets, that's how you're going to get new abilities. I do not expect anything else after this gang aspect to be very long. I just need to make the gang aspect work. Once that's done, I'm good. I don't gotta think about it anymore. It's smooth sailing. Getting to that part's gonna be the fun bit though. So I'm gonna call it here and think about it. I think I know how to do this. I'm like 90% sure. I just need to, like, truth be told, the thing that I'm getting caught up on, the thing I'm getting most caught up on is kind of like the resources, like, oh, it's about control and, you know, income and things like that. Something about that does not click. Something is not clicking with me correctly about it, and I don't know what it is. And I'm like, I keep going back and forth in my mind about it, and I'm like, this isn't... I thought I had this written out, and I don't know why it's not working in my head now, and that's kind of, it's like, oh no, oh no, oh no. So, I'm feeling pretty confident. Wednesday, we will power through either the rest of this, or if I kind of just find the golden path today or tomorrow, I will probably just start immediately on jobs and duels Wednesday. Kind of depends on the situation. I don't expect this to go beyond 6 episodes max, and this is just because, again, it's a little bit of a slow day today. But yeah, I'll call it there.